My balls, my balls, my balls, my balls, my balls, my balls, my balls that might bring down this airplane.
Recorded live at the Depends for Men Undergarment Studios in Orange County, California. It's the Indispensable Thursday Show with Sable and Dave. Mediocrity never goes out of style.
No, Dave, I'm not racist. That black stuff on my ear, that's from my headphones.
That dark colored stuff on your ear
Yeah.
is from your headphones. Okay.
That's right. So, a man once asked his father, "How will I know when I've met the right woman?" The father replied, "Just focus on the next woman, and the one after that, and maybe the one after that. Then, maybe, you'll have an idea about what woman is right." The son replies, "So you suggest experience in life will illuminate my path?" The father replies, "Yes, son, a great many experiences."
That's what my daddy said to me.
I was delayed,
Did you
man.
ever
I was
fly
too
out-
delayed.
Did you ever,
Look, I told this to my father-in-law, and he was almost falling out of his chair before I finished it.
I was weighing the wisdom of it, actually. So I would tell my son, I have daughters, so I will tell them the exact opposite of that.
Right?
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
So I watched
so true.
I watched a movie that you recommended
Yeah.
recently, and it kind of is what made me think about that little quote that I'm not sure where I came up with that from, but I watched Ex Machina on Monday night.
yeah.
Now, what was cool about it is I have a Chromecast. I bought Chromecast when it first came out, and it randomly
Me too.
popped up and said, "Hey, you got a free reward. Open your Chromecast app," which I did, and then you had to futz around in the stupid interface. I tell you, those Chromecast does not have a good interface.
Yeah.
You 15 levels in, you find the thing that says claim rewards, which takes you to a web browser. Now you're on your phone, takes you to the web browser where you log into Google. Then it gives you a reward. And after all of these steps, I was about to give up. It said, "Hey, you get a free movie rental." I went, "All right, snap."
It's inscrutable.
So now
know.
I had a free movie rental. Now the problem was I had to find a way to play the movie. So I went on one computer to find the movie I wanted to watch. I said, "Oh, Ex Machina. I've been wanting to watch that." Then in order to watch it on the TV, on the Chromecast, I had to install some Google Play app on my phone.
They make it so easy and so hard these days. Yeah,
And, and then sign in with my Google account to redeem it was like, oh God, I would rather have just paid for it on the Apple TV and been done.
Yeah, right.
I got the Apple TV. I click rent now, and in 30 seconds, I'm watching the movie. And you wonder why Apple TV gets all the money spent on it. Why that? Anyways, I like the movie. I like sci-fi films. The music tripped me out. I was not like the music wasn't getting me into the story.
I don't remember the music. I was so focused on the story. So I don't know.
And maybe the music was too academic. It wasn't atonal art music.
Do you want to synopsize the movie?
Well, I might.
You saw it more recently, so
I don't want to give away.
Yeah, just give the basic. This is the basic story.
Okay, so there's a imagine the head of Google. So the super genius rich head of the world's largest search engine lives in a secluded area in Alaska or Canada. He has hundreds and hundreds of acres, and he's in a little bunker. And he calls a programmer in to help test an android on what's called the Turing test.
Yeah.
Now, Turing was a computer scientist that helped sort of pioneer our age of computers.
Yeah, Alan Turing. We talked a little too much about that and got me in trouble with some listeners for spoilers. Remember the movie?
Right?
What was the name of the movie? Oh boy, I forgot now. Yeah, it was the one where they were trying to crack the code.
Right.
Whatever it was. Yeah, he was the inventor of the computer, basically.
The way that we understand it. So the Turing test is, and actually they did a great job of explaining it because my wife looked at me and said, "What's the Turing test?" And I said, "Just wait. He's going to tell you." And the next thing was he was explaining when you're talking to a machine, to have true artificial intelligence, you have to not know you're talking to a machine.
Yeah.
So if you pick up the phone and you're talking to somebody and you don't realize that it's a robot, it's past the Turing test. So that's the premise of the movie without giving away any twists. But I just wanted to say that it's a movie, so you can make some assumptions about it. It's not a documentary or anything. The super genius Nathan, he forgot Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, and because
Or
of
he
that,
maybe ignored them.
I think he just thought himself too much of a god to have to worry about that. So by forgetting the 3 basic laws that Asimov, which if you've ever read I, Robot, you came across them. They actually came out in 1942, and they were reused in I, Robot.
Isaac Asimov was a hell of a writer and futurist and a visionary. I love that guy.
Well, and the issue here with robotics is not a technology problem, right? We have to solve the technology, but once you have the technology, you have to have the philosophy of what to do with it. So rule number 1, a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm.
Mm-hmm.
So if your robot is standing there and allows you to walk off the edge of a cliff and die, he's ruined his programming.
Yeah.
Number 2, a robot must obey the orders given to it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. So if you walk up to my robot and you say, smash that guy's head open, he won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you come and tell my robot to take these bags from you and carry them in the house, it should do that. And a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws.
Mm-hmm.
So if the robot's going crazy and I say, put your hands down so I can bash your head in, it should put its hands down, right?
Yeah. What the hell was that noise? Is there a dog in here?
No,
that was weird. I was looking for your dog.
I thought Coda left.
I think we have some poltergeist activity.
Uh-oh, a poltergeist Coda. Well, I hope poltergeist dog doesn't fart like the real dog does.
We should turn this into an episode of Ghost Hunters. Let's just take the microphones and we'll start walking around. We'll try to catch some EVPs.
Maybe we can get the GoPro with an infrared lens on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. That's next episode.
Yeah. So, I mean, creating robots to appease your fetishes. That's probably what's actually going to happen. But
so did you like the movie?
Yeah, I liked many things about it.
Mm-hmm. Not everything. What did you like about it? I liked the overall arc of the story. I thought it was very simple, and it made a really good point, and it was there's kind of a, it's kind of a good switcheroo in the movie. I like that. Well, great.
I assumed that they were going to mess with your head from the beginning, and the way they did it was a very interesting way.
Yeah.
And the movie really kept me wondering, well, is that person? I think that person, and then the twist ended up being what I thought, and then 5 or 6 times that. This guy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So there's a really good payoff. I think it has a great ending. Love the ending. The title now, Ex Machina. We were talking about this before we rolled. I don't know if people know. It's from the phrase Deus Ex Machina, which means God from the machine. Mm-hmm. It's every writer knows this term because they're warned not to employ this. Deus Ex Machina. It's an old Greek tragedy. Well, not Greek tragedy, but it's Greek drama term.
I believe it's called a plot device.
It is a plot device. They used to use this all the time, but in Greek tragedy, in Greek plays, literally they would have a god come down and pluck the hero out. If he got in too much trouble, the god would take him and move him to somewhere else to safety. So it was a machine that would come and take him out. So it's like your ending has to be sort of realistic and truthful. You can't just have a character in really big trouble and then just get rescued by the writer, because you couldn't think of anything. So you have him, it's without setting things up like this. Oh, he got a really lucky break and the fire stopped. It started raining instead, so he's not going to die in the towering inferno or whatever. It's oh, come on. So that's Deus Ex Machina. So this movie has flavors of Ex Machina. It's meaning, he's like you said, he's a. Did we say he thought he was a god? This guy that was creating these robots, and these robots are, you could worship them. Maybe sentient creatures. They might have feelings. You can't be sure, but they certainly seem to in this movie, which I thought was really interesting. And lots of good nudity too for you fellas out there.
That's right. And
you lesbian chicks who like looking at female body parts,
even though it's synthetic.
Right. Wink, wink.
I mean, they had to use real robots with synthetic skin, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I suggest if you have a Chromecast, which you do, But listeners out there, go get your free rental.
Okay.
And if you're up for a little sci-fi with some, I still want to go find out what's going on with the soundtrack. Because I think it was too intellectual for me to gather while I was following the plot.
I don't remember it at all.
It's just a little, I felt like this is strange. It doesn't.
They managed to create a lot of tension with just a few characters, just a handful. There's really 3 main characters, and there's some incidental characters.
And there's only about 3 different sounds in the soundtrack too. So
yeah,
that might be part of it.
Yeah. I did not pay any attention.
No.
As I've said many times on the podcast before. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say that anymore, that I didn't pay attention to the music.
I'm sorry, I didn't say that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thanks for bringing over the Hop Stupid, by the way.
Yeah. We're both drinking a Lagunitas product here. You're drinking the Hop Stupid. That's spelled STOOPID for you guys who care. And I'm drinking the Lagunitas Maximus.
Because I'll probably be stooped over by the time I finish this.
Oh, yeah, you will. Baby.
After having the El Presidente Margarita over at the, what's that restaurant called?
Every time you say you're drunk, I always look at the board to make sure the time code's still running on our, because we had that one incident where we didn't record anything. That was the greatest show ever.
I might be by the time this is done, but for now, I'm still fine.
Good to know.
Well, rather than getting into lots of news, because I thought there were some interesting things to think about this week, I thought we could just fire out a couple of nuggets with a little bit of satire written in. What do you think about that?
I don't care.
All right, so I sent you a couple of things.
I care? Do I look like a man who cares what you do with the news?
I sent you a couple of things on the Slack. Let's see if we can give it a shot.
Okay. Well,
so here are the Tits News nuggets.
Okay.
Wildfires.
Can I just react to some of them? Why don't you talk and I'll just react to some of them?
Okay. Wildfires are burning all over California this week. Triple-digit temperatures and erratic winds are a nightmare for firefighters. It's a continuing contemptuous conflagration.
Ooh, that was very alliterative. Did you say erotic winds or erratic winds?
Yeah, exactly. The White House is planning to impose regulation requiring steeper cuts in greenhouse gas emissions.
Oh, God.
Obama states that climate change is not a problem for another generation. So why are we messing with it now if we could wait 20 years? Also, have you heard of the shipping industry?
Can I jump in on this one? Obama, hold on a minute. Obama is such an unctuous turd. I hate this guy. Okay.
That was not a racial slander.
Right. It's not a what does he say? Climate change is not a problem for another generation. Now, climate they're going to add all this, impose new regulation, steeper cuts, blah, blah, blah. It's going to cost somebody a hell of a lot of money, probably us, in unseen problems that are going to come up because of this. And then in 20 years from now, the temperature may go up or down. Who knows? Who knows what the temperature is supposed to be in 20 years? Who knows what it was supposed to be 20 years ago? He's not going to he's not going to answer for it. We're not going to get our money back if it didn't, quote unquote, work, which we don't know what it's supposed to do. Right. Meanwhile, Social Security payments are going to be reduced now because, like, I look at mine when I get them in the mail. They're I'm right at that age where when I start to retire, they're like, yeah, sorry, we totally effed up and spent and like wasted all the money that we made you put into the Social Security thing. We're only going to pay you about 75% of that, of what we've been telling you that we're going to pay you. That's a problem. That's right there. Because I'm going to be with a pitchfork and a torch at the White House going, hey, look at the amount you promised me, a-holes, and you're going to give me that.
Now, that's bad. I agree. But it's not as bad as Venezuela, where if they decide they like your farm, they just come with machine guns and they say, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $200 for the farm, or I'll shoot you and your family dead.
That seems perfectly in keeping with the government that the people there wanted, right?
So there's definitely going to be a revolution in Venezuela.
Good. Were they elected or no? I don't know how that worked. I can't remember what the Venezuelan
You think Venezuela has
it was a rigged election,
elections?
Right? No, I don't think they probably do. But I think the people there probably are like, yay, more big government going to help us. And then this is what they get. So, yeah, I hope they run in with machetes and they cut everybody up there. Good for you,
I just want to clarify, what Obama said was climate change is not a problem for another generation.
Yeah.
Specifically what he said was this might be a problem in 20 years, but it's not a problem today. That's what he said. No.
Not a problem for another generation.
Moving on. Some more.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm working on my Jesse Dollamore impersonation. Sorry.
Some more news nuggets. Working women around the world are rallying against sexist air conditioning, complaining that they have to wear sweaters or jackets in the office. They're joining together to fight for their rights to have the office unreasonably hot. Sweater manufacturers in the US and UK are contributing to the campaign in support of proper AC, along with energy companies in California and New York. Men will, of course, just turn the air up a little more. One office worker was quoted as saying, "We aren't going to sit around sweating our balls off so you lot can wear your favorite camisole."
I'm glad you put that last bit in there because that's what I would say. It's like, if it's too cold, you can put on a sweater, but if it's too hot, we're going to be the dudes, and I run hot. I'm going to be a little annoyed. Now, if you promise to wear a nice camisole that's revealing, I might put up with it, But yeah, for the most part, let's just keep it a little cooler because it's easier for you to deal with the cold than it's for me to deal with the heat.
Right.
You don't want to see me deal with the heat at the office. Seriously.
Good thing you don't work in an office.
I'll be sitting there with my my banana hammock on. I'll be like sitting in the seat just with the rubbing water on my belly and putting the fan on it. Like, oh my God. They don't want to see that.
Republican lawmakers continue the ongoing campaign to subjugate women. This time, they're attacking the funding for Planned Parenthood, an organization that assists women with reproductive health education and services. As I'm not a woman, I can safely say that this should not be my choice, but a choice for you.
For me?
For you.
Me, Dave?
Well, I'm not a woman, so you have to make the choice.
Okay. Are you comfortable with women making the choice for the genetic material that is half yours? Like, does she get to make 100% of that?
Yeah, I think so.
She's like, she wants to keep it, you're like, okay. And if she wants to get rid of it, you're like, okay.
She puts a 9-month investment in.
You don't even put in a word?
It's kind of her, it's kind of her say.
Okay. What about the nascent human being inside? Do they get a say at all? Or they're...
Well, I'd rather not have any skull croutons in my salad going crunch, crunch, crunch. That's pretty gross. But as a side note from the Nuggets, I think it's deplorable that nobody who reports on that has seen any of those videos.
I watched one of them, and so I didn't see the brain bits, but I saw the little arms and hands. It was pretty hard to watch. I was like, oh my God.
I couldn't watch it all.
Yeah.
But I'm not commenting on it for the White House.
Why do we fund Planned Parenthood? What's why do you and I pay for that? What's the
reproductive health education and reproductive health assistance? They're some of the only organizations that offer condoms, Plan B pills, and
Are these expensive things? Condoms are cheap.
No, but if you're a 14 or 15-year-old girl and there's no way for you to get it.
If you're a 14 or 15-year-old girl walking around with Beats headphones on, you can't afford $5 for a pack of condoms. Yep. All right, that's how they roll.
Weren't you ever
By the way, oh yeah, I was. And I was totally in support of abortion at that time. I was like, all right, I'll scoop them out, baby. I don't want any trouble.
Did you ever walk into a store to buy condoms? Or did you just steal them?
I need some mic aggro. My mic is sinking. Hold on, let me pull it up a little bit. Oh,
because I got to tell you, man, as much as gung ho as my friends and I were, walking into the store to buy condoms was like a horrific event.
No, I was like, yeah, baby, give me those condoms right there. Because the guy that was at the 7-Eleven was not. He didn't need them, so he was probably looking at me like, lucky bastard.
Maybe that's the problem. I didn't go to the 7-Eleven.
There's always just go to 7-Eleven.
There was as a teenager, there was always some middle-aged woman who would stand there looking at me deplorably as I would come up with a box of Trojans or whatever they were. What if there was another brand that I might have bought that was cheaper on sale or something? The coupon. I always thought you probably shouldn't buy condoms that are on sale.
I just get the Magnums and I tie a knot like halfway in there because I'm not big enough to need a Magnum.
Just to pretend?
Yeah. So I'd buy the Magnum so the guy would be like, oh, not only is he having sex, but he's got a gigantic penis. Wow. Look at my mic going down right now. The poltergeist is in here. The mic just shot down like 3 inches.
Dave, make that thing on the boom arm tight, and then we'll have to get you a new microphone.
Yeah.
Not a mic, a new mic stand.
Oh, we got poltergeist and we got mic stand fiasco.
That's right. So the FBI and the Justice Department.
Sorry, go ahead.
The FBI and the Justice Department continue their campaign to give all of your data to the Chinese. They argue that by putting a backdoor in all encrypted communications, it will be less likely that the Chinese will attack their systems. They really want the Chinese to stop attacking. One official might have been quoted tearfully decrying Dear God, please leave our databases alone.
Tell me more about this one. Now, the Chinese are really good at hacking, right? And they write all the programs for everything.
Well, I would argue they're not really good because we keep finding out that it's them.
They don't cover their tracks
and we're
too well.
really good because no one ever has any idea that it's us.
Good. Yeah. Okay.
So they've got, a warehouse full of people devoted to causing havoc around the world. And we have government agencies full with, billions and billions of dollars to just go and take all their stuff.
So we are, I wish I could remember who it was. Someone was talking about, it might've been the Firing Line or one, maybe no, and that wasn't Firing Line. That was the William F. Buckley. It was like some news show, like, one of the big news shows back in the 70s. And there was a high up guy on there. I don't remember who he was. I'm totally ruining this because I don't know any of the names that were involved, but it was like a high ranking guy.
Okay.
And he said, "Are you suggesting, General or whatever, that we are we're spying on our allies?" Because I think they're talking about some of the, they're talking about spying. It's, Are you suggesting we're spying on our allies? And he says, "Well, I certainly hope so." So that's a great quote. But
that's right.
Yes, we should be spying on our allies, of course.
So meanwhile, Microsoft has released its latest operating system, Windows 10. You can get a copy for free, but you will be forced to take every piece of software they want to give you from now on. Even when the mandatory updates break the perfectly good drivers you'd been using on your $1,000 video card.
I don't have a $1,000 video card.
Windows 10 continues the finest tradition of Windows. It's faster, better looking, and has already been penetrated by numerous zero-day exploits. That is not a euphemism. Unnamed government agencies that have three-letter abbreviations have shown great support for the new operating system, stating, "This is going to make our jobs so much easier." That's all I have for the nuggets.
I've already had my problem with Windows 10 because I use my PC more for work than I use my Mac. But I have a VPN. You know VPN. That's where you can. I know it well. I remote into our network in Burbank, and
so for the casual listener, VPN is it's one of those things.
Not VPL, which is visible panty lines. We're talking about VPN.
This is a virtual private network, something we've been using for 30 years in computing, that your computer gets a logical connection to another computer or set of computers somewhere. So it behaves as if it's not connected to where you are, but connected to where you want to be.
It's sort of like I'm in Burbank when I get
exactly.
on our offices. And,
or if you use Tunnel Bear, you can be in Europe and watch European television.
Tunnel Bear. Well, I use TeamViewer a lot, but the VPN, whatever our VPN software, doesn't work with Windows 10.
Of course,
just does not work. So there you go. Thanks, Windows.
So you did the rollback?
Jackholes. No, I'm just still.
Okay.
I remote into my computer that's in the building, and then I go.
So Dave, for you and everyone else that made the mistake of upgrading, you go into the settings, you go to recovery, and there's an option to just roll back to Windows 7. Because Microsoft knew you probably aren't going to like it, and you can just roll right back to Windows 7.
I like Windows 10. Other than that, it's whatever. So it's nice. I like the interface. It's really weird. It'll take a long time. Like if you have a folder on your desktop and you want to just drag a file from the folder just onto the desktop, it takes like 15 seconds.
Well, that's because they analyze the contents, they send it to Microsoft,
right,
they investigate what's in there so that Cortana can answer your questions, and then they put it back in your
Bill
computer.
Gates actually has to look at my file and decide whether or not it's okay to put. Oh my God, now that's a total bottleneck right there. If it's got to go to him, I mean, he's on his yacht and he's got to hold on, honey, hold on.
If you go into the privacy settings, there's about 100 different switches. You can turn them all off. Say, no, you don't need my location. It's at my desk.
I think
no, you don't need my microphone. See, if you just clicked Express Settings on your Windows 10, then, every keystroke is going to Microsoft. Every keystroke.
Oops, I just said a bad word. I'm sorry. It was barely audible, though.
Actually, I've been using Windows 10 since the open beta for months and months and months. It's been rock solid.
Mine kept crashing on my Mac. But I like this version. I am okay with it other than the VPN.
VPN. Well, you can get a different VPN. There's plenty.
Yeah, they'll work it out eventually. They always do.
Now, VPNs are really great ideas for you people out there who like to go to Starbucks or open Wi-Fi's and then check your email or Yahoo. You don't really want to do that on an open, unsecured network like the one at Starbucks. So what you do is you get the Tunnel Bear free VPN, fire that up when you're on a public Wi-Fi. It only gives you 500 megs, but that's enough to go check your email and know that you're not going to get hacked.
Tunnel Bear, right? I'm gonna.
Tunnel Bear works on Chromebook. It works on iOS. Works on Android.
Huh.
They have really inexpensive rates. I just use the free version once in a while.
Is TeamViewer kind of like TunnelBear or no? It's a different thing.
TeamViewer is remote access software.
Right.
So I use TeamViewer a lot. Like if you call me on the phone and you say, hey, can you help me turn off these privacy settings? Mm-hmm. I'll say, fire up TeamViewer and give me the digit. Mm-hmm. And then I'll be able to remote control your computer in order to help you. I'll move your keyboard and your mouse for you and see what's on your screen. Mm-hmm. I do that all the time. Okay. At work. We use that and another product called
TeamViewer is really good, but they're like, don't use it for work, just use it for personal use, okay? Mm-hmm. And then if you go to look to see how much it is for business, mm-hmm. they want like $700. It's like, what? You people are crazy. Of course we're going to steal your product. Of course we're going to use the free version.
They got to make money. I mean,
why don't they just if they charged like, $3 a month, I would have bought it. But they get zero from me now. Mm-hmm. But who's going to I really think it is like $700.
I work at a college, man. It's non-commercial use. I've always used it for free.
Yeah. I just wanted to hear that. That hop stupid.
See, I was trying to take my sip of hop stupid while you were gonna talk about something.
Yeah, I wasn't. I was like looking through my my news here, but
Dave, did you get my invitation?
To what?
To Pro Tools First.
I don't think so.
Oh man, no wonder. Well, it's all right. I haven't actually got it installed and used it yet either. Pro Tools. So you've heard of Pro Tools, right? Mm-hmm. Pro Tools is well known as the industry standard in audio recording technology. Mm-hmm. Pro Tools First is part of Avid's attempt to get Pro Tools in the hands of more people. Because Pro Tools is $700 software.
Yeah.
You want to use it at $700 or $30 a month to license it. But they have a version called First, and it's free. Now, you have to save all your projects to the web. It's for collaborating. So I could start a project, invite you to it. You would download the files, do your voiceover.
Is Mac or PC?
Mac or PC. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it works on both. But you can only have 3 open projects at a time. But who cares? It's First. It's free.
That's great. I'm going to try it.
So the idea, in my opinion, is get it installed, get it running. You start doing some work with it, and you realize 3 projects is not very many. Let me move on and pay for it. And then you can pay for a plan. Mm-hmm. Now, I have an old version of Pro Tools 10, and it's great software, but I can't use it for podcasts or anything long because when you do the bounce, it takes as long as it took you to record it to make it into an MP3 file.
Oh my.
Called a real-time bounce. And I can't wait around for that. There's never been a time that worked for me. So you've got episodes of The Good Wife to watch. You can't wait around for that. That's right. The Good Wife, man. I'm so hooked on this show. I know it's a 2009 show, and I don't usually care about courtroom dramas or law shows or army movies. But man, it's very compelling. The woman was married to a state's attorney who went to jail on corruption, but she had graduated law school, top of her class, and then quit practicing law to raise a family. And now she's forced to go back out into the workforce. And she's in this very high stakes. And they're dealing with really interesting cases.
Cool. That sounds good.
So it makes you think.
I've heard nothing but good about the show.
Oh, good. Well, they have a lot of episodes of that show. It's going to take me a while to get through it.
I don't have the time for that stuff. We're coming up on toward the end of the show here. Did you want to talk about sex with robots, or did you want to talk about Morrissey at the airport?
Oh, I want to hear about Morrissey at the airport first.
Hear Morrissey at the airport.
Yeah.
I was really captivated by this news story. Morrissey is the lead singer from the hugely successful 80s band The Smiths, and he's kind of known for being this weird sort of morose. It's weird that his name's Morrissey too, like Morrissey. Sort of depressing guy. To me, he always sounded like Jim Nabors a little bit when he sang. But apparently he's over at the San Francisco airport, and he's angry because he gets groped by a TSA agent, a guy. He said the guy grabbed his penis and testicles.
Oh.
And he was upset by this, and I guess he complained. I don't know if he's filing some sort of lawsuit or something, but he definitely made a complaint. And I was like, God, this opened up a whole lot of thoughts for me on this one. I was like, okay, first off, he is gay, Morrissey, or rather, he calls himself a humasexual. He just likes humans, so I guess he's bisexual, which means for guys of my generation, bisexual means that you're gay, but you also have sex with women. That's what that means for me. So he's
what's trisexual? I thought that was just try anything.
Yeah, you try
right?
Anything.
Okay,
right. So trisexual, bisexual, same thing, but it's gay.
But what is it if you're if you're a guy, but you like
I've had
women,
sex with girls who are crisexuals. Like you have sex, they start crying for no reason. I don't want.
That's like every woman. But
I don't know what that is.
But what if he wants to have sex with a woman who used to be a man? What is that? That's not really gay, is it?
I'd have to
pre or post surgery.
You have to give me some time on my notepad with that one.
So maybe that's what he means with huma. Oh,
yeah. Okay.
So tell me what happened.
So I mean, that was all I know so far, but it got my mind. I got the wheels turning, and I started like, it's really hard to offend me. Like I wouldn't. If that happened to me, like I'm going up there, it would be the equivalent. Look, he's attracted to both sexes, right? If I went up there and a female TSA agent started groping my crotch, to me that's like a feature rather than a bug. Right. And it's just like, oh well, this is pretty good. At least I got my tool fondled here, my junk, and I could still tell the wife, look, I guess it's part of the new procedure.
I couldn't get in the airport without it.
She put on her blue gloves and she went to town. Yeah, I was like, well, I don't know. And of course, I'm flattered that she'd think that my member could bring down a jumbo jet. It's like, oh, all right on. But so why is he so mad? Like I said, hard for me to get offended. Maybe he was offended. But and of course I start hearing song lyrics in my head. I'm like shyness can stop you from touching all the balls in life you'd like to. And like if not my dong, then it's my balls, my balls, my balls, my balls, my balls, my balls, my balls that might bring down this airplane. So he might have been encouraging the guy if he was doing that. Maybe the guy heard him.
Pretty good.
It was like, yeah.
That's pretty good, Dave.
Thank you very much. Whatever you do not cut out bits of that and put it at the end of the show. I tell you.
Sometimes I don't understand your indirect speak. So I mean, the TSA probably said that they didn't do anything. They never misbehaved, right? Because a TSA person would never come up to me, and because I was wearing boots, like talking in a low voice, like, so you think you're a badass, huh? You think you're a tough guy?
Does someone say that to you?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell, man? Oh yeah, when
that's good.
When I was just out of the military and I was in military shape with my military haircut, I was randomly selected every single time that I traveled, without fail. If I walked in the airport, they'd be like, "Hey, you over there. We're going to randomly search you." I was like, I'm just going to the bathroom after I pick my friends up.
If you say, "Hey, you over there, we're going to that right away, that means they've chosen you.
Oh, yeah.
So randomly, that's like, to me, randomly is that they get the twister game out and they spin the thing and they go, oh, look, it's pointing towards you. Here you go, sir.
Well, I would just, after 9/11, we had to start taking our shoes off and taking our belts off and all this junk.
They're like, left foot yellow, sir.
So we'd start going through
right
the magnetometer, and I could see all these people would go, and I'd say, watch, I'm going to be randomly selected every single time. It was me.
Did you have a goatee? You look like you could be a little bit Arabic.
Might have had a goatee,
But that doesn't make any sense, because they would have ignored you if you were Arabic, though, because they're definitely like, we don't want to look like we're singling out Arabs. Go for like my wife had. She was pregnant at the time. They made her get the breast milk that she had, and they waved the little stick over it to make sure it's like, you effing retards. You guys are such. Right? Oh my god.
Hey, TSA guys, why don't you go and search Grandma's underpants? Because Grandma, not the angry Muslim guy over there who's standing there nervously looking around.
The guy who's seething and he's like looking at he's like doing his last prayer ritual over there.
Like that guy's wearing
a parka and it's 97 degrees at the Bob Hope Airport. That guy? Yeah. It's so funny. So wait, what did the guys do? So the guy walked up to you. I love this. What did he say to you?
Oh, I was randomly selected. Yeah. And of course I had on some boots and I was in my military shape. And
what's that mean?
That means that I was like really fit. I don't know what that sound is, man. Maybe somebody's trying to break in.
The poltergeist is up to that.
The poltergeist. So, I was very fit. I was in the military. We had to maintain physical fitness, and you would take a test. So I was always a 300 plus in the PT testing, with the top of the fast runner, and I would do the, as many, if not the most push-ups in the unit. So, I try to pride myself as like the buffest trombone player in the U.S. Army. And I carried myself like like somebody who is in shape and confident. So he probably
I like to see you out in the field like early, like you'd get up at 4, even though Reveille was at 5, and you'd be doing your katas like with your trombone. Like you could eviscerate a guy with a trombone like before he would even know what happened. Like you'd have his sack would be hang on the end of your spit thing.
Slide. It's called
your
a slide.
Yeah. What's the spit thing? That's from a trumpet.
It's a little spit valve.
Spit valve. That's what I was going to say. Dang it. Oh well. Poltergeist, help me out here. So where's the poltergeist?
So the TSA guy was probably not more than 10 years older than I was at the time, and had probably been in better shape than I was when he was a few years younger at my age. But, on a sedentary job like most of us have now, you tend to lose that physical fitness. So maybe he was just upset. Maybe he thought I was actually a threat due to my Jewish heritage. Or maybe I just didn't like the attitude that he was giving me.
Well, he probably didn't know you were Jewish, though, right?
Of course. I mean, you can't look at me and not know I'm Jewish. I can argue 3 arguments for any argument.
Were you doing someone's taxes or something? Is that why he thought?
I think I was stealing everybody's money at the time and putting them into investments. I'm not sure.
You had a yarmulke on and you were doing someone's taxes. So obviously, okay.
So as he was randomly searching through, you got to check the belt, make sure there's nothing under the belts. Yeah. He's whispering, like a girlfriend that says you want to come in the back room for a private dance. He's like, so you think you're a badass?
Really? It was like sort of like bedroom, sort of talk like, oh, that's weird.
I was like, no, sir.
Yeah, your military cadence kicked in there.
You think you're tough? Like, no, sir. I just like these boots.
God, that's weird.
I swear to God. I said, no, sir. I just like these boots.
Do they have their names on their back? I would forever remember that.
Oh, yeah, but I was afraid of going to jail. Because, once they decide they're going to take you out, there's no...
You didn't know that you'd have a podcast many years later? Everybody has a podcast right now.
It's going to happen, man.
It's mandatory.
Did you hear about the podcast? There was a podcast show in Dallas. There was a big podcast expo in Dallas last week, and apparently it was full of all like suits and salesmen and people trying to do SEO and multi-level marketing podcasts.
Oh, that sounds awful.
And I think that you and I could offer services to those budding podcasters. So if you're listening out there, multi-level marketer, SEO looking people trying to do a podcast, we will consult with you for a reasonable fee to help you put together a quality show.
Or don't limit for an unreasonable fee too. We would also do it. So
I'm not sure what you consider reasonable.
Don't pigeonhole us. We would do it for an unreasonable fee as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I got that. So a lot of people out there want to learn how to use a microphone, how to record, how to put the technology together. And, we'll show you how.
Yeah, say what you will about this show. I think we have pretty damn good audio quality.
We have great quality. Good music, great. Listen, you and I may be jerks, but the show's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, screw all you people who aren't listening. I can say that because they're not listening, so they don't know that I said screw that.
Come on, man. We're building up.
Yeah, we are.
We're getting there. We have some dedicated listeners, and since I know most of you, I really appreciate all of you that listen.
Let's throw out a shout out to all of our known listeners. Like, thanks, Elliot and Angie and Derek and Armand and who else do we know? Yeah, Jesse listens.
Jesse.
Thank you.
So I got to tell you, if we go back 2 weeks, I think we are up to about 100 now. That's pretty reasonable.
100, yeah.
Right?
I thought that's like twice as much as I thought. That's pretty good. Okay.
It's considering we're not doing anything but just recording a podcast and putting a feed out there, it's not bad. Maybe we should ask our listeners for some help. But before we do that, I would like to do a little follow-up on last week's show, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So last week we talked about Mr. Meredith, the Kentucky man who shot down the drone in his backyard.
Yeah, my new pen pal.
Everybody
I wish.
On every podcast has been talking about this guy.
Really?
From the Twit Network, No Agenda, other news. I mean, everybody's been talking about this guy in Kentucky shooting the drone down.
Did Dollamore talk about him?
Oh, I don't know. Dollamore does talk about all the hot topics. And I did listen to...
Moving on!
I think I listened. Oh, anyways. So what Meredith said was that I think he told Ars Technica that his daughter was sunbathing in the backyard as the drone was moving in closer. And that was the thing that got him to. He was like,
she wasn't nude, was she?
It didn't say that.
Okay.
That she was or wasn't. I would assume.
I remember he was on his bidet on the back porch.
Right. I would assume that she was nude, sunbathing in a private backyard. And the
story's getting really.
And he said the drone was in the neighbor's yard, and he watched the drone checking out the neighbor, and then the drone went to his yard and stopped. And there's his daughter sunbathing.
Sort of like a bee would go from flower to flower.
Okay. So he just assumed it was a peeping Tom. Mm-hmm. So what's interesting, though, is that law professors around the country are busy discussing the implications of drones, robots, and violence. Now, there's a law professor from the University of Miami.
There was no violence involved in that story because
shotgun.
Someone shot a piece of machinery. There's no violence involved. Violence has to be person on person.
Is it?
Sorry. Yeah.
Are you sure? Is an actual definition?
If I hit the wall, it's not really violence. I hit the wall.
I think that if you and your wife are having a shouting match and you punch a hole in the wall, you have become violent, even though you're not violent against her.
I don't know.
I know that's taken a little too close to home.
I
think firing the shotgun at the drone is considered a violent reaction. But people are thinking about this.
Yeah.
And Michael Frumkin from the University of Miami, he's arguing that it's reasonable to assume that robotic intrusions are not harmless.
Yeah.
It's reasonable to think.
Mounted on all of the drones. That's why the drone is there. It's got a camera on it.
Right. And people have a right to employ violent self-help. And there's a paper that he wrote called Self-Defense Against Robots and Drones. Okay. And this is a well-researched academic paper that I have not had a chance to read because it's very long. Does he have
little schematics, like which defense would be best? Like Kung Fu against this type of drone versus like Kenpo Karate against this other type of drone?
That would be a great reaction paper.
Yeah. Or Jeet Kune-Do or Jiu-Jitsu. Because if you're in close with the drone, you might want to go Jiu-Jitsu.
You want to throw them down.
But if you're kind of like Taekwondo might be good if you're in the kicking range.
If it's one of those large drones from Google, the ones that move at 40 miles an hour, you might need some Aikido to move out of the way and try to use its momentum against
use
itself.
Its own energy.
Yeah. I like that.
I want to see some action on this.
So what would you do, Dave? This is an Ask Dave question.
Yeah.
What would you do if you were out in the backyard and the girls were playing in the pool? And the drone came over with a little red light blinking on the camera, and your wife is in the shower, and the kids are in the pool, and it's going between the pool and the bathroom window, and the pool and the bathroom window.
I would do what any good American would do. I would run and get like an 8x10 sheet of paper, and I would write hashtag stop videoing my girls, and I would just hold it up with a sad face.
Okay.
And then I would throw a rock at the drone.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Now, what if the drone was 25 feet up?
I'd still throw a rock at it.
What if it was 50 feet up?
I would call. I have no idea. I don't know. 50 feet
it's
up.
It's not experiment. Your neighbors are close by.
I would get the slingshot. I would try to do that. Yeah. I would try to take it down. Yeah.
I think it'd be really nice if we had a handheld EMP device that you could just knock out the electronics and have the drone just fall to the ground. Because then you get to keep the drone.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you could have a net.
Yeah, like those, like some of the Batman ones where you shoot it out and it opens up. What are those called? They have a cool name. The expanding nets.
Yeah, that would be cool.
They have a cool name and I can't remember what it is.
So I think along with the preppers, all the people that buy canned foods and seeds for plants, there's going to be on all of those prepper sites, you're going to be able to buy special guns that have those expanding nets. That's going to be anti-drone netting. And you're going to buy special netting for your backyard that you're not going to be able to look through, like the camouflage netting from the military. They're going to fly over and they're not going to really be able to see into your yard.
Yeah, it would look like MASH, the opening of MASH.
The whole city is going to look like that.
Jeez. All because of drone people.
I bet if you go to the SWAT meet in Kentucky, there's 200 people selling that kind of camouflage netting and those things you shoot. Capture the drone.
Yeah, what are those things called? Dang, I can't remember. Oh, well. Well, you can Google it yourselves.
All right, go ahead. Google it yourselves, people. Well, you want to wrap this up, Dave?
Yeah, we ran long. Let's wrap it up.
All right, I want to thank you all for subscribing to the show. You can find the Indispensable Thursday show on iTunes and everywhere that fine podcasts are served. We want to hear your voice.
And this one.
That's right.
Fine podcast and this one.
Thank you.
Put that in there.
Fine and mediocre podcasts.
Yes.
Call our hotline at 657-206-0777 and leave us a message. We appreciate your iTunes Store reviews. You guys rock. We invite you to follow us on Facebook.com/The Indispensable Thursday Show or on Twitter @Sable and Dave. Bye, Dave.
Bye-bye.